Yes guys, I hope you are well. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. Today we are going to be talking about how to create a session plan for if you are a grassroots team manager, coach, parent, if you're delivering sessions on a weekly basis. Could be just one session a week, could be two sessions a week, but here's a kind of a blueprint or a template on how you'd go about your sessions. Something that I've picked up on a coaching course that I've been on recently, so I thought I'd share it along with you guys. So drop a like on the video, subscribe for more, and let's get straight into it. So first point is, when you're obviously looking to create a session, you want to think about what part of the pitch you want to work on. You always want to think about creating a session to help the player's game rather than how you want to play. I am guilty of falling into that trap multiple times, which I'm trying to break out of. But it is something that I've recognized and sort of gone, okay, well, how can I do this for them rather than just be a bit more selfish and see what, just because I want to do it doesn't mean the kids want to do it, or whichever age group, whether it's your under 7s, whether it's your under 11s, or whether it's under 16. So it's always important to keep that in mind before you even going on thinking about planning a session. Again, I am a relatively new coach. I've been coaching for about 3 years now. So again, anything that I say now might not help you maybe 10 years from now, 15 years from now. But I guess I'm just sharing this as kind of like a documentation process so you guys can understand, or if you have something relatable, make sure to drop it on the comment section down below. So the topic, really important, picking which one you want to do, whether it's attacking in possession or defending out of possession. As long as you are clear and keep it simple what you want to work on for the entirety of the session, that is the most important thing. Moving on is how we're going to implement this set game for the players. So this is what I talked about briefly just now, where we're not doing it to promote how we want to play the game. We want to improve the way they play the game. So if they're doing something like, if you have a player who's a very talented player who's good at carrying the ball forward, how can you then create more situations for them to be able to do that more often? How can you sort of create situations where their weaknesses are reduced as well? And that's what sort of implementing the game for the players, I understand, is what it means. I've put a little subheading down there called Principles of Play, and I'll get onto that in a minute. It's basically principles of play divided into two. You have attacking and defending. So any of those principles of play you can pick on, whether it's attacking, creating chances, support play, whether it's 1v1s, whether it's focusing on a technique, up to you. Tend not to pick too many at a time. Pick on one and then sort of build the session around that. That whole idea that the session has to flow throughout. Don't start working on attacking in the first 10 minutes, defending in the second 10 minutes, and then going back to attacking again. If you're going to keep the same focus throughout the whole session, do that. That's so much better for you, so much better for the players, so the flow of the session still remains the same. Moving on. How are we improving the players? Now, this is what the guideline, or what we use to sort of review the players. We've got this is known as the FA's 6 capabilities. All of this information is available on englandfootballlearning.com if you want to, read up on it yourselves or take a bit more initiative. So we've got scanning, positioning, movement, techniques, timing, and deception. These are the sort of areas that we need to look to improve upon our players. Now, depending on the group of players that you have, a lot of this might be helpful for you. A lot of this you might notice already. Some of it might be like all completely new to you. So I'll explain it very briefly. So scanning, how are they looking at the pitch? Are they looking at where their players are in relation to where they're standing? Positioning builds on from scanning. Once you've scanned, are you in the right position to receive the ball? Movement, this is more for the attackers. It also can be for defenders as well to receive the ball. Attackers, same again. How are they shaping their body to receive the ball as well? Techniques is more focusing on the actual mechanic of what they're doing, like this, the dribbling, the passing, the defending, little bits like that. So they're actual on more of a technical focus. The timing of their run forward, timing of when they shoot the ball. Are they too slow? Are they too quick? Do they rush to pass? Do they rush the shot? And deception. Do they have that little guy, that disguise to their pass, or are they very clever? Are they quick to think of solutions on their feet as soon as something happens or a situation changes? Can they read the game quite well? And that's what we're sort of trying to guide them towards, and that's what the sessions should be tailored around. And these are the 6 topics you should consider. Again, in terms of building the session around the 6 capabilities, try and in an ideal world, you want to cover all 6, but realistically, even if you nail one or two of them, or even one of them, you're more likely to see a progression or improvement in them rather than trying to cover all six and the session going a little bit all over the place. Because then you're focusing your coaching point, which is what is coming up next, it will be scattered. You'll be talking about deception and timing when you might be doing a different defending focus, session focus, or you might be talking about techniques. But you also you might have been better to talk about movement and timing when you're attacking, that kind of thing. And coaching points. Now, this is something that I'm working on myself. Coaching points, keeping them as minimal as possible. This is for your actual session throughout. As a coach, I like talking about football a lot, but the kids, they just want to play. They just want to get on with it. They want to improve. They're here to learn. Going on like a lecture and rambling does not help them at all. Their attention spans are very, very short. So you want to get in, get out as quick as possible. So keeping your coaching points throughout the whole session to what you want to focus on, using the 6 capabilities and molding the session around that, that is what's going to get the best out of the players. And keeping the coaching points as short as possible. Less is more, as I picked up from the course. But this is the actual planning of the session. So you, depending on what session you may have, maybe it's an hour a week before your match day, 2 hours a week before a match day, you want to sort of have some form of match realism as possible, because you only see them once in a week. If they're not playing in the training session and they jump into the match day, they're not gonna know what to do. So you'd want to have 70 to 80% of the session revolved around the game, whether it's a technical game but you're involving some game aspects like still scoring goals, still protecting an area, because at the end of the day it is an invasion game. You are trying to get from one end to the other, making it fun, make it competitive, and still keep the ideal core of the session where you're trying to improve as players as well. So what I would advise or suggest, if you are starting a session, get him into a game straight away. If you've got an hour, try and make this a quick 10-minute game just to get the blood flowing, just to get them nice and warm, just to keep the energy levels nice and high so they've enjoyed it. Then you might want to think about a technical game-based practice, which might be half technical, half game-based, and then you jump into a match at the end after that. So you might want to do the session in 4 parts, make the 2 parts in the middle a lot smaller, and then you're still guiding and coaching them throughout the matches, and helping them. Similarly, if you have a 2-hour session, this gives you a bit more time and a bit more freedom to sort of allocate where you want to sort of prioritize. So it might be half an hour for the first game. You might want to do 20 minutes for the technical and then focus more on the game base and see how they react in the game. And then you might want to push them onto another match at the end as well. And finally, once you've done all that, you review the session. Obviously, there's no point you just planning and delivering and then you just, okay, well, what's the next session? Plan the next session. Because when you reflect and analyze and see what you've done wrong, see what's gone better or what you could do to improve, you'll automatically then have the next session already planned out for you. Because there might be something that you thought was good, but then actually in the session that hasn't worked out well, you might want to stay on that. You ideally don't want to stay on a topic for more than 3 weeks because the kids will get bored. So try to keep it 3 to 3 weeks maximum from what I've seen. And then you can always revisit it and come back to it at like maybe 6 weeks time, and having that spaced repetition, spaced learning is a lot better than doing the same thing and the kids getting bored and the kids getting frustrated. For me, most of my experience comes from the under 7 to under 10 and / under 11 level. So a lot of my coaching is involving children and how to help them get better, so that I have to mold and adjust my sessions for them. For the older kids, it is a bit more different. You do have to keep them on their toes. You have to keep them, constantly remind them that there is progress to be made. There are still improvements that we can make, and keeping that standard high for them will help them sort of, you know what, look, I am good enough to do this and I can do this. And that is how I would go about my session plans. I hope that helped you guys, and I'm looking forward to hearing your comments and feedback in this session, in the comment section down below.